Good morning. Hello. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another episode of SJU. I am Danielle. We've got Ed, a returning Emma. Hello.
Hello.
And we've got Dan.
Hello.
This is not a drill. They are remaking Face Off, and we're going to get into the... I know.
Of all the movies to remake, I'm actually not even a little bit shocked that Face Off is now on the docket.
They're just going to start checking everything that you love off the list, so get ready. So we're going to get into the insanity of that, as well as we're going to be talking about the trailer for the new Apple Plus TV show, See, and we're going to talk about which fast food mascots we would press our faces against, because that's what happens when you stay for the whole show.
True.
It's true.
Stick
All right.
around.
Dan is really excited about that segment.
He's super psyched. You can't wait to pull some names out of this hat.
Oh.
Story number one, Face/Off gets a re/make via deadline. Paramount Pictures is developing a remake of the hit 1997 John Woo-directed action thriller Face Off, which of course starred John Travolta and Nicolas Cage as an FBI agent and a terrorist who swap identities and their literal faces. The studio will reboot the film with a brand new cast. It's being brought to you by the writer of 22 Jump Street, who also worked on Sonic, The Cloverfield Paradox, one with the director of The Fast and the Furious, and the producer is going to be the guy who brought us Hacksaw Ridge. Guys, what do we think about Paramount making a new version of Face Off? Are we excited? Do we think they should leave it?
Okay, I think that Face Off is like a lightning never strikes twice situation. Like, just leave Face Off alone, you guys. Face Off works so well in its own little microcosm of it. I mean, just even Danielle, you explaining the premise of it's so absolutely ridiculous because these people switch not only identities, but their actual faces.
Yes, you take the face.
Oh, yes, correct. I can't see this, quite having the same cultural impact again.
No, I said this on Twitter yesterday. It's like this perfect little thing at the center of like the massive cocaine of the 80s.
Yeah.
The high octane slick action of the 2000s.
Yeah.
And the like cyber tech punk 90s where it's like technology can do anything. Yeah. And it's and you have that, like, as far as the timing goes. Then you've got the John Woo of it.
Yeah.
Which is just this huge, like, just speedboats and skiing on your shoes on the water and doves flying and explosions, and then
sideways guns.
John Travolta and Nicolas Cage impersonating each other, and whatever the hell Nicolas Cage is doing, it's not me, it's me. It's one of those things, like, why would you? It's like Point Break. Point Break was a movie that existed in one moment in space and time. It could only exist there, and they remade it, and it was terrible,
Not
and
good.
it lost a lot of money, and nobody wanted it, and nobody liked it, and it was pointless, and didn't have any reason to exist, and still doesn't. Why do it again? Doesn't make sense to me. There's too much about that movie that is like 100% unique. What are you going to improve on that concept? Like, I really think there were some dangling threads that the original Face Off didn't resolve.
Well, now they'll take off more faces, maybe.
No.
Faces off.
Okay, well, I guess I gotta be Joe Starr. I feel him leaping into my body like Boston Brand. Comic book reference for you guys, dead man. I feel as though you guys are missing the point. A lot of times people remake stuff because something has a major flaw that they feel like they can put in. And I think the original Face Off has a huge flaw. It starts.
Put that in my mouth.
Joe Starr says
Joe thinks this
Joe
movie is
Starr told me
perfect.
differently.
Joe. Okay, Joe's psychotic. We know Joe. He's awesome.
Don't try to pawn your Face Off hot take on Joe Starr.
I'm putting my face on his take. Take off.
Take off. Take Joe Starr's take off.
Okay. This is my Castor Troy face. Okay, I think the original movie is utterly ridiculous. There's different body differences that a wife would notice, other than the face. I'll leave it at that. There are significant flaws. So remaking it with women and using the thing of like certain obviously women's bodies are just as individual as men's bodies, but there could be more uniformity with certain surgeries or something. I don't know. I feel like a female version of it could be
get
sick.
those surgeries as well. It's just
I
not
think a lot of men have too much tried for those surgeries, Emma? No, but what I'm saying is, with a woman, maybe it could be interesting, or if they just improve the level of action sequences. You talked about John Woo. John Woo is a master of action. That movie starts out with a baller-ass action sequence at the airport, then goes to a dope action sequence in a big warehouse, and it ends with a boat chase.
A burning boat chase.
Yes.
No.
Are you shitting on the boat chase at the end of Face Off? Because you and me go round and round all day on this.
I am a bird on a wire for that boat chase because I hate it. After mega shootouts, a boat chase isn't good enough. A boat chase is what you put in the middle of a Bond movie to get Bond from hither to thither.
And
it's not the climax of anything.
It's not a rowboat chase. Let me recap this boat chase.
Joe has officially made Dan his proxy in this way.
On a boat, at one point, Nicolas Cage's stunt double is surfing on the water in his dress shoes, and it ends with them hitting a big rock. The boat flies through the air. They
like a
fly through the air. The boat explodes. It had 80,000 gallons of gasoline in it, and they land on the beach, and then they have a hand-to-hand thing with a harpoon. Ready for the big ride, There is nothing wrong with the boat chase.
That boat chase to me is like the ultimate. I mean, it's sketch comedy writing. It's just like elevating to the next level.
I am there for that boat chase, and it's practical. And you know, if they remade that, it'd be CGI. There'd be no stuntman surfing on his
brain
shoes.
would have that
real fire on that boat.
Be the whole Uncanny Valley thing.
No,
You know
sir.
what? I
will not stand for this boat chase.
I love you guys' passion for this.
Reiterate.
I don't share it in the least. Maritime races don't move me. I don't like it. But one thing I will say, as long as we're remaking stuff.
So you would say you take the boat chase out in the remake.
I just flip them around. The boat.
take the
We
chase.
started. Exactly. Can't do better than that.
Oh man. I just. And yes, I do have to make sure I read this. According to one Joe Starr, Face Off might be the greatest movie ever made. We're going to discuss some more about Face Off, but first, as you know, we highlight a new organization. We've been trying to highlight a new organization every month, and September is Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month, and in fact, today is World Suicide Prevention Day. So we wanted to spotlight Stack Up, an organization dealing with that problem with a highly at-risk portion of our population. Stack Up serves U.S. and allied service members, veterans, and civilians to assist in crisis intervention, suicide prevention, and issues concerning mental health through gaming and community. Make sure to visit stackup.org for more information. All right, and also, there we go. There's some more info right there. Thank you very much, JTE. Make sure to like and subscribe. We are SJU on Fandom. I don't have anyone to do a bell for me, so I'll just ding it. No, Joe's busy. Don't make him. He's exhausted from all of your face-off slander.
Well, take your metal.
Actually crying.
Take your metal magnetic boots off and bring the bell.
We'll get back. We'll get back to that. Over on Fandom.com, we have crunched figures together with cultural impact, fan opinions, and It Chapter 2 director. His insight to decide King's most important work, so you make sure that you check that out. All right, so now we're going to get to it. If they are doing this, and they are, and we don't have a choice. No one asked. They never will.
Don't want it.
Who should face off? How should they face off? Why, when, and where? I almost said like a black sheet. Who should face off? What should face off? All right. So the original Nicolas Cage, John Travolta, at a notable time for both of these actors. Travolta was on the middle of his huge comeback after Pulp Fiction. Nicolas Cage had really started getting into his like action blockbuster phase. It began with '96 as The Rock, solidified in '97 with Con Air and Face Off, opening weeks apart in June. What a great month for Nicolas
Came
Cage.
out the same summer. How does that happen?
And they're both so perfect.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
That's the only
Nicolas
explanation.
Cage. All right, other names that were mentioned, Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Michael Douglas and Harrison Ford were the other duos discussed while Face Off was in development.
Oh, boy.
Are you okay?
Douglas and Harrison.
No, Stallone and Schwarzenegger. Okay,
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger's
I get
not
that.
the tall man you think he is, but he is quite a bit taller than Stallone.
I'm going to need them to explain the accent on that one, because is there going to be dubbed? Because Arnold's not doing an American accent. If he could, he would have by now.
It's a voice chip.
He has the voice
That's right,
chip.
it's the voice chip.
It's the little strip that they put on there.
It also makes his
box.
mouth move differently.
Exactly.
All right, let's go ahead and pitch these remakes. So,
Oh my God.
we got to figure out some stuff. Who should star in the remake? They've got to have chemistry.
Right.
They have to be able to do good impressions of each other. We can't just do The Rock and Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's never going to get up that high.
Right.
And they're not going to they're not going to make The Rock shorter. So we've got to keep in mind some certain body limitations.
Well, I'm going to cheat, and I believe I did. It's somebody. This is what happens when you do as many shows as we do here. You do things, and then people are like, "Oh, yeah, remember that thing on Movie Fights?" I'm like, "No,
Nope, absolutely
Apparently, at some point, I pitched. I guess a face-off version with Vin Diesel and The Rock. Oh. And I will still stand by that. They hate each other.
Yes.
They hate each other.
In real life and in the movie. This could be
just
good.
The real life drama behind that.
You just made Joe Starr smile.
Yeah.
That's a big Joe Starr smile.
I'll take it.
I've apparently pitched it before, so I won't go into it, even though I remember nothing about the pitch or when it was. Maybe somebody, this is just like a gaslighting catfish thing. Where I never did it, but enough people got together to tell me that I did. But I would, it'd be a disaster, but I would go see it.
Oh, I want to see that so bad.
I'd like to shout out Mark Ellis's pitch from Twitter, which was Pennywise and Ronald McDonald.
We both harm children.
I like that.
I like that. If we are, you know what? I'll crib off of Ed's. If they were to do, a lady version of this, just piggybacking off of the success of Hustlers, let's do J-Lo and Cardi B. They're both from the Bronx.
Yeah.
I think it works.
Yeah. I think I saw on Twitter also somebody had pitched a Margot Robbie and Samara Weaving.
Oh.
But they can't be that similar.
I know, that's the thing is they're too similar.
They're too similar. You
can't be
got to
same
go
face.
with like either they hate each other or they're wildly divergent.
yeah.
That's,
If they switch those people's faces, they'd be like, "We got him, Castor. We got Castor right here." No, I'm supposed to be the other one. Like,
Right.
Nah, we're in
Margot Robbie
jail.
could go undercover as like I would probably if the two of them walked in right now, I would probably have to go like,
Which one are you?
Yeah.
Mine's super boring, so I'll just say it very quickly. Because this movie's going to fail anyway, I'm going to pick a duo who started a movie together that failed, and it's Sam Worthington and Christian Bale.
It's great.
Sam Worthington,
That's
Christian
great.
Bale, I think they look enough alike. They have different styles. They're different. Their vocal cadences, they try to approximate each other. Yeah, seeing Sam Worthington, them both struggle with a regular, real American accent.
Man, Sam
Slightly,
Worthington.
just slightly.
He was really a thing for a year, wasn't he?
He was great on that Discovery. Was it Discovery? There was a series about the Unabomber. That it was him and Paul Bettany, and it was really good. Like he was the detective on it.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And I was like, oh, Sam Worthington. Turns out he's still around.
which is bizarre. Like he was the star
I know.
of what was
Yep.
until recently the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah.
And yet he's just sort of like
Yeah.
we don't see him.
Oh, and can we talk about other movies that shouldn't exist in this genre? Because I really think I got to pitch my movie.
All
It's
right,
called
okay.
When Doves Cry: The Story of John Woo's Dove Trainer. I'd really,
listening.
his trials and tribulations trying to get him to fly past the guns. Like, I'm a dove, I don't like guns. Now it's symbolic, dude. He's trying to reason with the doves. He's like clapping on rooftops like Mike Tyson, training them how to do stuff. He's the Bowery King of these doves. Like, I think there's something there.
Cast Mike Tyson.
There's obviously nothing there, but I'm just saying the dove thing with John Woo was so hilarious. He carried doves with him across continents. I think doves flew out of the nuclear bomb and broke an arrow.
I'm guessing he went to someone's wedding where they had them doves, and he was
And he was like,
inspired.
that's it. That's every one of my movies now. That's going to be my signature. It's just doves.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking the whole thing about like a female version of Face Off. Like I would like to see that, but like it's like the remake of RoboCop.
Yeah.
Just make it a movie.
Just make it
about
its
a
own
digital
movie.
detective.
Yes,
You're right.
100%. Don't
Like,
call
why?
it.
It's we've gotten so lazy. It used to be. I mean, it used to be like like they would pitch original movies, and then it was like in the '80s. It was like the joke was like it's Face Off meets blank,
Yes.
and now we just gotten to the point where they're just like it's
It
Face
is that,
Off.
but it
just
has
Face Off.
nothing to do with Face Off. It's a
Right.
completely
Yeah.
original
Just-
story. So why are we calling it Face Off?
Why? I understand understand why, because it's a name brand. Why tether yourself to it? But like, if that's an interesting concept, and there's different ways to go with it. But like, just write
an original movie. I totally agree.
Get back to ripping things off the way we used to.
There's like
100%.
How many buddy cop movies were there in the 80s?
Yeah.
Like, they weren't all Lethal Weapon.
Well, at a certain point,
now they are.
Now they are, but they weren't.
Yeah, at a certain point, adding the IP of an original thing ruins your idea.
It totally does.
Just imagine if Speed was a Die Hard sequel. That movie, it would take all the power out of it. John McClane's on a bus now?
I mean, it's like the paradox of sort of the state we live in as far as entertainment goes, is that everybody is afraid to make something that is a totally original IP, because when you are working with an established IP, then you are guaranteeing a certain amount of audience and a certain amount of dollars going into that production. I mean, it's the same conversation that was happening around the time of like the remake of Charmed, where there was this conversation of, okay, well, why isn't it just like an original show about like women who are witches in the modern era? That's totally fine. Like, it's okay to rip things off like that. But it was that whole thing of, well, they are taking the name of Charmed and then they're giving all of these like Latina women an opportunity to be in it, and that's the only way that they're able to make it. So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. I just think you put so much pressure on things sometimes.
I totally agree.
Now they have to live up to something.
Now they have
it's
something
alone,
to live up to. Yeah.
Wait, so somebody out there has an original script about people's faces being ripped off. He's like, damn it! You'll never make it now.
I don't think it's that. I think that whatever they make of this Face Off remake is going to be different enough from Face Off that there's no reason for it to be called Face Off.
Yeah.
It has to be different enough from Face Off in order for it to be any sort of consumable entertainment, I think.
And in a face-off movie, I don't want them to do the thing where it's like we took his brain patterns and put it into this body, or like any of that stuff. I want faces off.
Right. If you're not taking a face off, then what's the point?
Yeah, no, thank you. Not
and I can't imagine that a face is going to be taken off.
No, because the technology now is advanced. That's what I meant. Like the 90s was like, technology was so nebulous, like where we were going to be in 10 years, that like you could write a movie where you take someone's face off of their body and then through plastic surgery construct the rest of their body. Like it was just mysterious and viable enough that people were like, okay, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
But now it's
now
like,
we know.
Neil deGrasse Tyson would be tweeting about it. And
oh God!
We'd be doing a movie science on it, and it just wouldn't. It didn't make it. There's too many. The internet exists now, and I just don't see how it would work.
Yeah.
I just don't see how it would work.
What about the blood types? Blah blah blah. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah,
it'd be some. You're right. It'd be some
their
experimental thing of
their
like,
DNA.
We took his brain pattern and put it into a USB drive and plugged him into a computer.
Who wants that?
No one.
No one. I want faces and I want them off.
Yes.
All right, next we have got another, I guess this is another update in the streaming wars. It's Apple Plus has started announcing their slate of new stuff, and one of them, we did check out the trailer for the Jason Momoa-helmed TV show See, and that's being brought to you by an interesting group of people, the guys from Peaky Blinders did this.
Yeah, it's a really interesting creative team that's involved in this project, actually.
Yeah, you've got Jason Momoa, Alfre Woodard, and the premise of this is that in the future, no one is able to have sight, no one can see, and then suddenly babies are born, and then babies can see, and then people want to kill babies because that's what you do in the future.
Yeah,
because it's like in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. It's this idea that if humanity is reborn with sight, then these new, then now the rest of the civilization is
then the people with the sight have all of the power, and it's a prejudice and fear kind of.
And
situation.
also in the reality of the show, they've built a religion around the fact that everybody can't see. It's a virtue that they can't see because due to the fact that they can't see, they can't fly planes and waste up a bunch of jet fuel. they can't have war. They can have war, obviously, from the trailer. But they can't have it on the level that we're having it right now because you need to be able to see to do that. So they think it's like a culling of the earth in a good way, sort of thing. So when these babies come out, it's like, oh, we're going to go right back to jet planes and flames. You know what I mean?
Man, I'm going to say, watching that trailer, I'm a little iffy on the premise, but this thing is gorgeous.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, Francis Lawrence, who directed it, I mean, he's done a lot of films. They haven't all been great. But, I mean, if you look at his filmography, the Hunger Games films, I Am Legend, well, not the first Hunger, but the subsequent sequels.
The sequels.
I Am Legend, Red Sparrow, they all look great.
They really do.
Well, it looks like a high-dollar version of an episode of The 100.
Oh,
on
yes,
the
CW show.
Yeah, it's like let's spend $80 million on a couple episodes of The 100 and see what it would look like. That's what this looks like.
Yeah, I'm with you, Danielle, that, like, the premise to me is a little unnerving from the point of view that it is capitalizing on, like, there really truly are people who cannot see. Like, it is a real thing. However, I don't hate the sort of premise of, oh, well, you know, because this has been taken from us, like, there is a positive aspect to it, like you were saying, Ed, of, like, we can't kind of consume on the level of people who, you know, used to have sight and who tore our world apart and made it this, like, you know, sort of jungle post-apocalyptic world that clearly we're living in now. So, and it was funny because when we were initially watching it, we thought that it was a trailer for a movie, and then we're like, oh no, wait, this is a series. Yeah. And my perspective on it actually changed upon finding out it was a series instead of a film. Because in a series, you just have that much more time to really dive into the why of it. In a way that, like, if you do that in a film, it's going to get too bogged down and convoluted, and you don't ever get to the story. Whereas, you know, with a series, you have the time to breathe. Yes. And obviously, like, I love Alfre Woodard.
Yes. More work for
You know
Alfre.
what I mean? Like,
send her dollars.
Well, one thing that's made me think of, oddly enough, and it's not a spoiler unless you make it one. It's very much the same as Book of Eli in that someone's carrying something tremendously valuable that people are fighting over, and it just happens to be human capital. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's got some of that same flavor. And after hundreds or even maybe 1,000 years of not being able to see, how have humans dealt with that evolutionarily? That's interesting as hell.
That is an interesting concept.
It's such a mixed bag. As I mentioned, Francis Lawrence directed some really good movies and some not so good movies. And then Stephen Knight, who I think wrote the first script, or I think originated the idea, talk about mixed bag. Writer of Dirty Pretty Things, which is Oscar nominated, Eastern Promises, which is a very acclaimed movie, Locke, which is a very acclaimed movie, but also the writer and director of one of the craziest movies of Serenity, not the Firefly movie.
But the Matthew McConaughey one.
Movie that came out this year. He wrote and directed that movie.
We will not spoil that movie for you.
No.
You have to go see Serenity.
It's
so strange.
Insane.
Just
crazy town, banana pants, not in the good way, but also kind of in the good way.
Literally crazy town.
In the, like, worth watching kind of way.
Yeah.
You're not going to enjoy it, probably, but
no, it's the type of movie that keeps you going until you find out, okay, I've invested this much time. I need to find out what the hell is wrong with this thing at the end. You know, what are these people trying to say? You end up watching the whole thing and be like, what's the denouement? I'm going to watch this. You know what I mean? You have to.
It's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. That's all I can say. So it's like, I don't know which way to go. This could go any number of ways. I wasn't a fan of the voiceover in the trailer. I know that you have to do it a lot of times to establish things, but I hope that it's not. I hope that's just a trailer thing. It's not a trailer to the series because it's a bit heavy-handed, and I just wasn't a fan
pilots
of it.
these days are chock full of voiceover for some reason because I think that they have to set the world. Set the world up. But
especially if you're doing something that's kind of like fantasy sci-fi. It's pretty good bet there's going to be some VO in that pilot episode.
I'm a fan of the text screen.
Oh,
Give me a good scroll.
Give me a good title card at the beginning.
Just tell me what I need to know, and then throw me in.
I love it.
They fought over the gasoline. Deal with it.
And I believe, Dan, you've got some other Apple Plus.
Well, they announced their launch date, which is November 1st. They announced the price, which is $4.99 a month, which is lower than $4.99 a month, which had been originally the early word, and then it was going to be more.
Twirling your head like, oh, what a handsome sim service.
Oh, how you doing, Apple Plus?
When do you just get the cable package that is all of these streaming services?
But the one thing, and I've always thought that this was Apple's advantage, is they're offering a deal where if you buy a new device, you get it for a year for free.
I mean, I kind of need a new Apple TV, so
And
sold.
that's their. I think that's their advantage. Is that's basically if you're gonna subscribe, if you're already planning to subscribe to their service, then they're basically giving you a $60 subsidy toward your new device. And I think that's where they're able to leverage some power, is they are also in the hardware business. They're trying to phase out iTunes.
Smart.
And I was reading that they're also making this, unlike some other services, they're making it available on like competitive, like on like Amazon Fire, on other
right,
devices.
because it took Apple devices forever to get Prime Video.
Yes.
Forever.
Yeah. So they are making some moves. I still, like I said, they've all of these things have invested so much, and there's so many unknowns. Like this looks intriguing, but who knows? The morning show thing looks kind of interesting, but who knows? Like for me personally, there's not been a slam dunk thing where I'm like, oh, this is a contender, but they do have some advantages that the other services don't have.
I mean,
One of them is Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg and the money to pay these guys, because you're selling a bunch of toasters with screens on them. And I get that, but when are we going to have major consortiums just decided to make networks now? Like, remember when they were having commercials for just beef, milk? You know what I mean? Like,
you want to watch beef TV?
Beef TV. Everybody's snapping into Slim Jims and eating steaks. Milk TV. Everybody's just chugging milk. Like it's like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying these giant consortiums. What's to stop them all from getting into entertainment? Ketchup. It's a bunch of tomato product placement through all the shows.
Sentient. Yeah. There's different types of ketchup. Yeah. Like me.
I don't know what kind of ketchup you're drinking.
I'm not drinking any.
Why are you?
V8, the channel. I'm just saying these entities that aren't predicated on making their money from entertainment. We've talked about this for months.
Like in a lot of ways, though, those companies would do well to get in league with something like an Apple TV. Of like Apple TV,
be brought to you by Beef. Okay, well, this is the perfect segue for the most important segment we will ever do on the show. Story number 3. Could you love a Colonel via Polygon? KFC, yes, the fast food restaurant is reportedly working on a video game with developer PsyOp, the fried chicken connoisseur, are releasing a dating simulator called I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger-licking good dating simulator.
Yes.
I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger-licking good dating simulator.
Whoa.
Yes.
What is that?
I am here for this.
All right, so it's going to put you in control of a promising culinary student who's studying alongside a young, clearly hot Colonel Sanders. While looking for love, you've got to make it through the school, too. If you're lucky, Colonel Sanders might even take you on as a business partner. Emma, explain dating sims to the people.
All right, guys, if you have never played an Otome game, here's how it works. You are a young lady, usually. It's pretty much always a girl. There are some exceptions, except for like Dream Daddy, which is an Otome game, but with dudes. So basically, you are a young lady who is in some sort of social situation wherein, for whatever reason, you are surrounded by like 5 to 10 hot guys. And it is your job through text selections to romance one of these hot men and live happily ever after.
And they all have like different personalities. So there might be like the goth, or like the athlete, or like the bookworm.
One of my favorites, Ikemen Sengoku, involves you playing a girl who, like, you've just landed your dream job, everything's going really well for you in your modern life, but whoops, you get transported back in time and you rescue Lord Nobunaga from being assassinated.
Watching Dan's face is the best thing.
Sometimes there's just little corners of the world that open up to you. That you didn't know we're out there.
And I will say there are versions for dudes. Those versions tend to be quite adult.
Very adult. Yeah. Overall, Otome games, though certainly like there's some racy stuff in some Otome games. Maiden games is what that translates to. But in dating sims that are more geared towards men, it's more about getting in those ladies' virtual panties. Whereas like in dating sims for girls, it's more about like the romance aspect. Yeah.
All right, so now that we have explained this, it is time to play Date, Marry, Dump, the relationship game where you can't say the F word, and also killing people as the third option after sex and marriage is horrible and weird. So everyone is going to draw 3 fast food mascots from the hat, and we will find out who you would casually date, spend the rest of your life with, or just leave heartbroken after an argument outside of Denny's. And
An argument outside of Denny's.
Okay. My hand
Do you draw 3 at once?
Are you picking 3?
Draw 3 at once.
Okay.
Don't look until we all have our...
I just want to know who like the other hotties are in this Colonel Sanders.
Can we see hot
dating game?
Can we see hot Colonel Sanders again?
Yes, please.
That's just bizarre. Like that just to me is
Look at that swag.
that's do you think
that is peak Otome game right there. I love it.
Do you think when he founded this restaurant chain, he ever thought that one day he would be like a sort of ambiguously attractive? Yes, that's...
To be fair, I don't know that he knew video games or TV would be around either.
No.
That's fair.
It's like the singularity. We would have a very hard time explaining to Colonel
one?
Sanders.
That's one.
Alrighty, we've all got our 3. Ed, you go first.
That's time.
Okay, wait, marry. Okay,
All right.
dump. Okay, I'm just trying to familiarize that. So date, marry, or just dump on sex,
yeah.
right? Okay, I drew Little Caesar.
Yes.
Now, Little Caesar's getting dumped on site. Little Caesar don't look like his picture. Little Caesar has problematic political views. When I go farther into his Tinder page, he's got a mega hat on. I don't like Little Caesar.
Wait, what?
No, I'm just saying.
You're
In his dating profile. My bad. Please don't boycott them because you think I said something definitive about them. I'm sorry. In this, I'm just saying in the metaphor.
Yes.
This person, I just wouldn't appeal to me. Could appeal to other people, not to me.
Not for
Little
you.
Caesar, not for me.
All right, who's next?
Okay. Now I want to do date casually. Okay, because Grimace. I got Grimace.
Okay.
Grimace.
And you know what? Grimace is one of the most marginalized McDonald's characters. I think him and the Fry guys just they don't get enough pub. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They don't have enough character development. I mean, I know all about the Hamburglar. Like, what's up with Grimace? So like I think I'd like to date around. But Mary, I gotta say, Mary, I got Jack. From Jack in the Box.
Oh, he's such a good dad.
No, Jack is the head of a corporation. All these other losers are just mascots. Jack's the head of it. Jack's name is on the checks. So if I'm gonna marry somebody, me as a modern woman who wants money too, that's me. That's me. I love Jack for
teriyaki,
broccoli beef bowls. These fools are going crazy.
Okay, so I drew Ronald Mcdonald, who I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave heartbroken outside of a Denny's. Because listen, you guys, we've been given a lot of attention to Ronald Mcdonald over the years, and it's hard to do it, but ultimately, he's got to go. It's time for a new, fresh era, and this will make a lot more sense when I get to my Mary. But casually, I would date Chuck E. Cheese because that just seems like a great time.
Chucky.
You know what I mean?
He's got a lot of friends.
Yeah, he's got a lot of friends.
He's in a band?
He's in a band. You can play unlimited.
That's the worst.
Saddest picture of Chuck E. Cheese.
That's the
I've ever
worst
seen in my
Tinder
life.
profile picture I've ever seen.
That's like just got divorced. Dad hasn't used a computer in 20 years. Dating profile.
His
Chuck E.
best
Cheese.
friend took a picture of him at the bar.
Yeah, that's like Cobra Kai Johnny Lawrence right there.
And keeping in line with me tending to go for like the cool guy choice in an Otome game, I'm going to be marrying Mac Tonight, who was a short-lived McDonald's mascot from the 1980s.
I love Mac Tonight so much.
Yeah.
People don't believe he's real.
Portrayed by Doug Jones, actually.
That's true.
So I mean, Mac Tonight is like, so the whole thing with him was it was a play on Mac the Knife, and he was like the cool guy who wore sunglasses. I think he played piano and saxophone, maybe?
And also, they did not get permission from Bobby Darin's family to use.
No, sure didn't. Hence his short-lived lifespan. But you know what, guys? It's time to rebrand McDonald's as something that is cool. This is truly the future of the fast food mascot, and I want to chain myself to that future. So
I am in full agreement. All right, so I got for my dump. It's got to be the Hamburglar. He is a criminal. He's an actual. I'm not marrying no criminal. He's always on burger probation. No.
How many lives, though, has the Hamburglar saved by stealing? That's true.
That is true. That is very true. That is a solid point.
I guess I'll eat this apple.
Rubble. No, thank you. Also, that's all that he says. For my casually date, I'm going with Mayor McCheese.
Great.
Because
there's a lot of McDonald's represented here.
Well, they have a lot of mascots.
Yeah, that's true.
And Mayor McCheese is like, I don't know if I could handle being a political wife. There's like a lot that you have to do, a lot that's expected of you. Every choice of yours gets scrutinized. We know what happens if I eat a salad. I like salads, and now all of a sudden I'm on the cover because I think I'm too good for my own mayor's cheeseburgers. So I've got to pass that. And for who I'm going to marry, it is Where's the Beef Lady? I am marrying the Where's the Beef Lady because you know why? She sticks up for what she believes in. She has a code of honor, and she will always make sure that what we need is taken care of. I never have to worry that I'm going to want for anything because anytime that she thinks that we are being slighted, she's going to be like, yo, where's the beef?
Yeah.
So that's who I'm going with for my marriage.
Okay. All right, so for my dump is actually, I'm dumping, I did not even know this mascot existed until literally now, Cuppy. The Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, Cuppy, the Dunkin' Donuts.
Whoa.
Yeah.
First of all,
terrifying.
It shows
and
a lack
completely
of
unnecessary
to original thinking. That's literally like I could if you were asking me to guess like if Dunkin' Donuts had a mascot, like what's the laziest option? I'm like I don't know, a cup of coffee named Cuppy. That just shows a lack of follow through, a lack of commitment, and I just don't think that's a good way to start off any kind of connection.
No.
So Cuppy, the Dunkin' Donuts mascot, whom I did not know existed until today, is sitting outside the Denny's with Ronald Mcdonald and who else?
Hamburglar.
And who'd you dump by the side of the road?
Little Caesar.
Little Caesar. Pizza. You help me.
Quite a menagerie.
I'm just assuming that Hamburglar got kicked out of the Denny's for trying to steal everyone's hamburger.
You know what's funny? All of us that we're dropping on the side of the road, nobody's picking them up. Nobody's picking it either. One guy's half naked, one of them's a criminal. Like, there's no way.
An open cup of coffee? You don't want that in your car.
You know what I have to say? Ronald McDonald's chances of getting picked up on my back crew looking pretty good.
I would not pick up the last thing I would pick up by the side of the road is a clown.
Fair.
So sorry, Cuppy.
But what if he took his face off?
And it's Willard Scott.
Bringing it back around.
So dating now again, I think a lot of people would marry this person in a heartbeat, but I am not that kind of person.
Oh.
The Burger King. The Burger King. I think we've all fantasized what it would be like to be royalty. But I've seen King Ralph, and I know that it comes with a lot more strings than you imagine. So I think that I would like the short-term fairy tale romance of being with the Burger King. Plus, I don't want to wake up next to that face every day for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah.
Or like just like the Burger King rolling over, just like I'll be right back. I'm going to the bathroom. No, nightmare fuel. It's nightmare. It's nightmare. So I'm gonna experience the life of a royal briefly, but then the Burger King is gonna go back to the court and to find his true mate. I'm gonna marry somebody who looks warm, who looks cuddly, fuzzy, and also has the meats. I'm going with the Arby's oven mitts.
Dumped a coffee cup, but
It's
into
like
the oven mitt.
It's like marrying a body pillow. It's nice and soft, and
That's your
Arby's,
waifu.
Arby's gets a lot of. I like Arby's.
I like Arby's.
I
like
enjoy
Arby's, too.
Arby's.
Starr,
I like anywhere that offers curly fries, so I support the Jack and the Arby's
Curly
marriage
fries are
happening here.
delicious. I've had roast beef, and I can tell you, you will never eat a roast beef sandwich anywhere else but Arby's that tastes like that. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to know what it is. And I appreciate their commitment to meats.
They do just say the meats. I feel like their beef is like misspelled on purpose, and we just don't see it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but and you guys could go on double dates because your wife is asking, "Where's the beef?" Like, it's right there. It's right there.
It's true.
That's
the roast
true.
beef is with me forever. I also enjoy a nice chicken tender, which they do well.
They do.
Arby's gets a bad rap.
They have great. They also have great wraps.
And
I have not had a good.
and it's pretty
ironically, I've not
tasty
had
milkshakes as well.
That's
They got those Jamocha shakes.
Those Jamocha shakes are good. All
Pretty
right,
good.
y'all, we've solved it.
Avoided the noid.
We did
avoided the noise. I was wondering if the noid was in there.
Well, who else
We have
is
two
in there?
left. We've got Colonel Sanders, and yes,
yep.
and we've got the Noid.
Oh wow.
We all avoided that's amazing.
great.
That's very
Well
on brand.
done. All right, let us know in the comments down below which fast food mascot would you date, marry, dump? Are you going to buy this Colonel Sanders game? I certainly am. And we will see you tomorrow. Bye.